Okay, so for this tutorial today, we are going to be making a Subway Art America design. I'm going to be adding this to a canvas panel that I found from the Dollar Tree. $1.25, really easy to work with. They're completely flat, so you don't have to take off any wood or anything, but this is what we're going to be using today. I'm going to be using my Easy Press 2. I have a heat-resistant mat, a Teflon sheet. I'm using my Cricut Joy Xtra, but you can use any of the Cricut machines, of course. If you are going to use the Cricut Joy, just keep in mind the smaller you go, it may be difficult for some of the fonts to weed, but with this design, I really don't think you're going to have any issues because it's really not that intricate. I have some heat transfer vinyl. I've got red, blue, and then just a little silver piece, but obviously you can use whatever colors you want. Standard grip mat, weeding tools, my brayer to help my vinyl adhere to my mat better, and then this step is completely optional. I'm just going to add a little bit of paint to the top of my canvas panel here, just a dry brush technique. The only reason I'm doing it is because I don't really want that stark white. I like my things a little more rustic, or like I always say, my husband says, dirty, but that's just my personal preference. So this step is completely optional, but I'm going to go ahead and do that first. So then I'm going to show you how to get into Design Space, how to set everything up, get it cut, and then we'll get it all put together and make ourselves a cute little patriotic sign. Alright, so before we get into Design Space, I'm going to go ahead and paint this so that it can dry. Although it does not take long to dry at all because I'm not putting a whole lot of paint on it. I'm just doing, like I said, a dry brush technique. So there's our panel. I'm going to grab a paper towel here. Go ahead and get a little bit closer so you can see a little better here. Right, so this is the paint that I'm using. This is just a linen color. It's a matte folk art acrylic paint. And I've got myself a paper towel, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick up some paint, and then I'm going to wipe it off. You can always add more paint, but you can't take it away, so make sure you start with light. And you're really not even going to see a whole lot of this paint on the panel. Like I said, I'm just doing it just to give it more textured look so that it's not so stark white. And you probably can't even see it on here. Just going back and forth. And then I will also take, actually I'm going to use a little more paint here. Again, not using straight paint. I want to take some of it off. But I'm also going to go around the edges because I like to have darker look around the edges. This is all personal preference. If this is a step you want to skip, you absolutely can. I'm just wiping it off a little bit with a paper towel. That's just going to help get some of the bristles from this brush. It's just a cheap little, I think it's called a chipwood brush, a bristle brush. It's called a bristle brush. I'm just wiping this off because some of these bristles like to flake off because it's just, like I said, a cheap brush. So I'm just using a paper towel to make sure that those aren't on there. Because if you use your vinyl over top of that, the little pieces from the bristle brush, I don't know if you can see this, those will show underneath your vinyl, and obviously you don't want that. So after this dries, I will wipe it down again, but I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. Let's get into Design Space so we can get this all set up and ready to go. Okay, so here we are in Design Space. I'm going to go ahead and click on New Project, Upload, Upload Image, Browse, and to wherever you have saved your the free SVG from my website, wherever you save that to on your computer, go ahead and find that folder. This is the SVG. Open and continue, and then we're going to hit upload, and it's going to land on your canvas. Okay, so this is the size of how I designed it, and I went ahead and designed it to fit an 8x10 frame, but if you're going to have an actual frame like wood border around it, you may need to resize it, and I'm going to show you what I mean here. I'm just going to bring in a shape to represent my canvas panel, and I'm going to change this to 8x10. And then I'm going to lock it again, and then I want to make it white just so I can see it. Let me send this to the back. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab this and let's center it. Okay, so you can see on here, there really isn't a whole lot of room on the outside. So if you were going to do like a, there's a reverse canvas technique. If you were going to do that and keep a frame on the outside, you obviously you're going to want to resize this. But this is sized for the 8x10 panel that I am going to be using. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I just wanted to show you what it looked like on that frame to give you a visual. If you look at this, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this. And I always like to tell you guys why I do what I do with the designs that I have. So this right here, these are just the little stars. They're just two little stars right there. They can be whatever color you want. I'm going to do silver for this so that it shows up better on my canvas. But if you wanted to do white, you obviously could do that. You could change the colors of any of these in here. This section right here, this is all the red and this is all the blue. If you click on this so that you can look down at everything that's in here, there is nothing that is attached. It is only grouped. And the reason that I did that is if you wanted to change the colors or if you wanted to take out a word, say you wanted to personalize something, maybe take this out of here and put in family barbecue, 4th of July, or, you know, however you wanted to personalize it, you can do that without having to do any contour or slicing. Okay, so I wanted to show you that, but for this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it just exactly the way it is. But one thing I want to do is I want to attach it first. I want to make sure that my machine is selected. I'm using the Cricut Joy Xtra, but what I want to show you, let's go ahead and save this because it's going to ask me if I want to save it. If I did not attach anything, if I left it exactly the way it is, just like you see right here, when I go to make this, all of my words are going to be all over the place and you're going to have to place them individually. So that's why I attach my designs. I'm going to go ahead and click on this layer, which is the red layer, click my attach button, click on my blue, and click the attach for that. I'm not going to attach the little stars because they're very easy to place. They're just two little things there. And if you attach them, there's going to be a whole lot of wasted vinyl in the middle of it. So let me go ahead and send that to the back just so you can see. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save this again. Now when I go to make this, this is all going to be attached. So this is going to be one piece of vinyl that I'm going to lay on this mat, and this is going to be one piece of vinyl on this mat. Now keep in mind that we are going to be using HTV, so you need to mirror your design here, mirror your mats, go through and click on each one of them. But if you do not want to do it that way, you can grab this whole thing right here and you can flip it. So now everything here that we are going to be using is already mirrored. You don't have to worry about flipping it on the other side. Let's go ahead and save this again. Okay, we're going to click make, and now everything is flipped so you don't have to worry about, like I said, moving it. I am going to take these little stars and move them down here. Move object. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on this mat so I don't have to worry about putting in 3 different mats, just 2. But I need to keep in mind that this is going to be blue and this down here is going to be my little silver that I have. Okay, so this right here is the first mat that's going to cut. We're going to click continue. I am using my standard grit mat and my fine point blade, and I'm going to be using everyday iron-on. I'm not going to change my pressure or anything. This is what works with my machine. If you have a better setting for your machine, please by all means go ahead and do it. It's whatever works for you. All machines for some reason cut differently. So like I said, whatever works best for you, that's what you want to cut on. So I'm going to go ahead and get my vinyl placed on my mat, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut both of these. We'll get them weighted and I'll show you how to put it all together. Okay, so here we are with the first mat. Make sure when you remember you're doing your HTV that your shiny side goes down. I'm using my brayer to help push this down. My mat is not very sticky, so I'm going to add just a little piece of blue painter tape right to my top part right here. Just right there to help stick that down. Okay, go ahead and just load it and we'll get this one cut. Okay, now now we've got all our vinyl cut. While I'm going to weed my vinyl, I'm going to go ahead and turn my easy press on. And you need to follow the manufacturer's recommended time and temperature for your vinyl. And for mine, it is 305. I probably won't use it for the full amount of time on each press, but I will show you how to go ahead and layer them as we go. So let's go ahead and get this weeded. For this one, this is the red, so this is the one that has the outline of the USA, so we need to take the inside part out and just leave that, the outline right there. Let's give it a double check, make sure we got all of our vinyl. Now I've got my mat that I went ahead and painted. I got a blob on the back of it there. There we go. And if you noticed in the painting, I had a little, or in the video when I was prepping it, I had a little bit too much on this side. So all I did was I took some white acrylic paint and I put it over the top and then I wiped it down real quick. So if you do get it to a point where you have too much on there, you can wipe that down just a little bit with some extra paint. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my Teflon sheet on top of this, and I want to just take out some of the moisture. And I did wipe it down again to make sure that there was no extra little pieces on there from the paintbrush. So you don't have to do this for long, you just want to warm it up. Okay. Now the first put I'm going to put down, I'm going to do the blue first. And the reason I'm going to do the blue first is because the red has an outline and that needs to lay on top. Okay, let me see, I want to go ahead and get this lined up. This is the outside of your design, this one nation, so you can go ahead and eyeball off of that where you want your design to go. Okay, and this is also the top of your design, or your project, I should say. So we want to go ahead and try and get that lined up as best we can. I want to just make sure that this is evenly spaced here. Okay, I think that looks good. So I'm going to put my Teflon sheet on top of it, and then I'm just going to put my easy press right on top, and just with some firm pressure, I'm just going to press down a little bit. I'm not going to do it for the first, for the full 15 seconds like it calls. I'm just going to do it for a little bit just to get my vinyl to release, because I am actually going to be layering on top of it. So when you take that off, you want to make sure that you pull back very slowly on your carrier sheet to make sure that everything is laying down. That way if you have to go back over it again, you can. But you don't want to pull too much. See, now my vinyl is coming up here, and if you start to pull too much and the vinyl comes up, there's a chance that it's going to wrinkle. So short presses are the way to go. Here's your first layer. And this is going to lay right on top. And the outline of the USA is actually offset a little bit, so just keep that in mind. So I would keep an eye on this part over here to line it up without looking at that, because that might just throw you off. And I just found another piece of vinyl that I'd missed. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm not going to do the full press. And then we're going to place the stars down. This one goes here, and this one goes right in here. Alright, put it down. Now I'm going to put my Teflon sheet down and I'm just going to do another quick press. Firm pressure, but you don't want to go back and forth, you just want to push down. Turn that off. And there we go. This would be really cute with maybe some Patriotic fabric that you can hang it with, or a piece of jute. So there you go, guys. I hope you guys liked this week's project. You can find it in the freebie library. It is design number 206. And on the blog post, I will leave the names of all the fonts that I used and the links to where you can find them, because you guys know I'm a font hoarder, so I always want to assure that you guys know the names of the fonts, because I love the fonts. I assume you guys want to know what they are too, so I'll be sure to leave the links for those. Along with all of the supplies that I used today, you can find links on the blog post as well. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to see these. If you make them, please bring them over to the Facebook group. I'd appreciate it if you guys would give this video a like and subscribe to follow along for more crafting tutorials. I post a freebie every week. That's it, guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Until next time, have a wonderful day on purpose.